hyping up.
It's
I got to get hype.
I'm gonna start doing that from now on too.
We're recording, but I don't care. We got to get hype because this video was a headache. It was pointless. It didn't even need to be there. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another She-Hulk review. I couldn't believe, like, you literally don't need to watch this episode if you were trying to keep up with the story. Well, the episode begins with Titania selling her beauty products entitled She-Hulk, Strength is Beauty, for all the women and teens out there. And she's really successful at it. Basically, she just launched it about a week ago. And now she's coming after Jen saying, stop using She-Hulk. That's my name. That's my beauty product. Stop it. And so the adventure begins for She-Hulk. This is her big enemy today in this week, you know, the big villain that she's fighting. And so let's just dive right into it. So Jen goes to the store, I guess, to confront Titania with her friend Nikki, who's picking her teeth in this particular moment.
Yeah.
And she's like, can you stop using my name? And she's like, no, get over it. She-Hulk is mine. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally lasted like 7 minutes. And
it did. And there was a lot in this 7 minutes, at least for me, because She-Hulk is very much, you know, like told from a feminist point of view. And feminists do not like beauty. They do not like beauty influencers. They are very much against makeup. This Titania person seems to, you know, be all about it. She's an influencer, which is what she's doing. She has people who, you know, who her fans who are lining up outside of like this store, just like beauty influencers do when they go and they drop like new products. They go to a store, they, you know, do meet and greets and everything. And this line that she has is very reminiscent of like the Kylie Jenner or even like the ColourPop line, down to the look at the website. It's really interesting. And just the fact that like Titania is all, you know, glamored up. Across from her is Jen, who's not. She's just plain. Titania like makes fun of her and calls her like a child. Like, excuse me, child, you need to, you know, wait in line like everybody else. She, you know, she's very plain. She has her hair pulled back, no makeup on. It's it's like this battle between like a glamored up woman who embraces femininity and feminism. It's really interesting to me. It's really interesting to watch.
definitely a reflection of the writers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is why Steph is here, because I knew the makeup episode was coming. And if you didn't know, Steph ran a successful makeup YouTube channel.
For a little while, and then I gave it up.
When I first started watching My Nerdy Home videos, all of a sudden I started getting like beauty tips, recommendations. I'm like, what? What?
No.
It was Steph's
Sure.
fault.
So
Learned a
in
lot
this
about
episode,
makeup.
they don't just dunk on men at the end. They're kind of dunking on women and, you know, showing that like just because you like makeup, you have less value.
Don't worry, Mike. There's something for you to say in this scene right here. Now we get to the most professional part of the show, and I'm just being sarcastic here because these attorneys and whoever's working in this professional office, he walks up to her and says, hey, I need a favor, Nikki. I need you to stand in line with me to buy the new Iron Man 3s that are coming out. She's like, what are you buying, shoes that you don't wear? He's like, yeah, I got a collection of shoes that I wear and then one that I don't wear. And I'm a sneakerhead, okay? I collect shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, if you do this for me, I'll hook you up. So she goes, I need costumes and uniforms for She-Hulk. I need something cool. And he goes, oh, okay, I know a guy. Like, we can get this fixed. And how did this randomly happen in the office of an attorney at law office is beyond me. But
well, Nikki is shopping, right? She's the type of person that's like, you know, that takes care of herself. She wears makeup. She's makeup every day. She has beautiful outfits on every day. She takes care of herself. She takes pride in the way in how she looks. And so, yeah, she's shopping on the website. She's shopping the She-Hulk makeup line, you know, skincare line when this happens. I'm not gonna lie, those two together is like probably the best part of the show, or the best part of this episode, because while it's ridiculous and over the top, they have good chemistry together. They work well. Their personalities kind of mesh. So just them two together are the best parts of the episode. That's
Well,
it.
they play the goofy like side characters, which is
Yeah.
fun, and like you don't have to worry about taking them seriously. But at the same time, once again, they do spend a lot of time trying to make us think this is really serious, as like they're lawyers and like professionals and stuff. But once again, the tone on this show is all over the place. So half the time they're like, "Take us seriously. I'm a professional," and then the next moment they have scenes like this where he's like,
I know a guy.
You got me. Let's go. I got my own person buying the new shoes, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? Yeah, but it felt like they're like, we need a subplot so that we can get the episode to 20 minutes. So
that's what I'm saying. It's like this is so. Then they go, well, we're gonna find this guy that can make clothes for She-Hulk, and it's a secret. So they got to go to like
a boba shop.
Yeah, and say the secret password and all that stuff. And in order for them to get access to talk to the guy, they have to buy cheap
Avengers knockoff clothing,
knockoff merch from a guy peddling it.
Did you see?
You notice that Thor had a shovel? Oh yeah, he's purple.
But in that same scene, Hulk had on like the Borat Mankini towel.
Yeah. I was like, what is happening here?
What is this?
Yeah.
We're just not supposed to take anything seriously in this show when they want you to take it seriously in this show. Like it's ridiculous.
These are the jokes. They're like, oh, it says Avengers. No, I have Avengers like with an I. Like So it's just like, so this was like a knockoff, I guess, people wanting to buy Burberry or whatever Coach, and it's like not real.
Yeah.
So the guy's like, I'll give you access to the special designer, but you got to buy some of this stuff. So they're like, okay. I didn't know they were actually going to put it on. But they did. They put it on to go to a special elevator, I guess, to go find the guy. And again, stretch. So then we fast forward back to the law office where She-Hulk is talking to her boss about this trademark issue, and he's like, well, I'm gonna give you a lawyer. And then her best joke shows up because they're like, why didn't you trademark the name? She goes, I don't know. Did Doctor Strange have to? Did Thor? And she's like, they're using their real names.
Yeah. You chose two examples of people who actually use their real names.
Yeah. It's like, well,
you can't make this up. It's some of the best writing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Speaking of writers,
the delivery was good because she was just like,
Jay, your ex-girlfriend wrote this.
Dana Swartz is the writer of this episode, everyone. That's right. If you don't know, have a long history with her. It's just a joke. But if you want to watch it, I'll put the video here in the link. It's an older video. I apologize for how I looked back then and how I acted.
It's a very good video. It is. I was telling Jay, it's very Alex Stein level of trolling. It's such a good video. I remember when that happened, when all that went down. It was very funny.
For the record, she was not my ex-girlfriend. But anyway,
but he does have her sticker on his Twitch channel still.
Yeah, I still. Oh, Dana Swartz. What's happened to you? Of all episodes, you write literally the filler. Like, I thought last week was a filler. This is the
filler to the filler.
Fillers.
Yeah.
And we finally see someone professional.
Yes, that is the one thing. This is a professional lawyer. She dresses like a professional. They actually compliment how she dresses, while at the same time, tearing her down because she dresses professionally. And this is what an actual lawyer, I would think a professional lawyer would look like, who works at this prestigious law firm.
Yeah. Well, I love that the other part of it is, she's like almost 8 foot tall. So she's also like had to go buy a bunch of these like clothes so she can fit into them normally, and they're just like, wow, look at you, you look like garbage. Like
She-Hulk.
Yeah. So she can't win.
They call her Shrek in this episode.
Yeah. So she can't win. Like if she's like Jen, they're like, wow, she's so like small and frumpy. And then like she's She-Hulk, and they're like, wow, you're so green. You're like, okay.
So this is the sad thing about this. So basically, they're trying to show that nobody likes Jen, and
No.
this is her issues, unlike Hulk, who was, chased by the government. People tried to kill him as much as possible. He had to hide who he was. He had to, forsake love and everything and go live in a country where he hopefully wouldn't, be found. And he did what he loved as a doctor, helping poor people. But no, Jen's problem is, we
She's a
don't like
woman.
you.
Yeah. Jen's problem is she's a woman and she's a victim and she gets made fun of.
Because you can't dress right. And here's some more of this awesome makeup here, Steph, with around the eyes. Because we get to the next scene where they're in court now. And everybody, watch out. She-Hulk might lose the trademark to her name. Because this first round in court, they didn't do too well. Titania looks like she's going to be the clear victor. And now what will we do? I mean, obviously, she's not going to lose the trademark to her name because she is She-Hulk. I mean, this is like something that doesn't make sense. We're not going to sit here and wonder week after week, is she really going to be called something else now forever in the MCU because she's going to lose the trademark? No, she's not. She's not going to lose because that's dumb. And this whole court thing is dumb. It makes no sense. So they lose the first round. And the judge looks at, She-Hulk and like, if you ain't have any better evidence, I'm sorry, but you're going to lose.
Yeah.
So Titania with those green eyes looks at her and like gives the throat slashing symbol. And
which is fine to do in court. It's fine. It's no big deal.
I know. It's totally fine in front of, police and lawyers and a judge. Just
certainly the judge isn't going to look at that and go, hey.
And the thing is, like, how come we haven't, like, Titania, why have we not dived into the character? Where did you come from? Like, who are you? Like, how did you just bust into court that one day? Don't you remember we fought in, like, the first episode? Like, are we going to fight again? Like, what's going on?
They don't bring it up. They don't bring it up at all.
No.
I know. It's so weird.
Yeah. She shows up to try and break out somebody. I don't know who it was, but because this show is just, you forget about it.
It's
she
all
shows
over the
up
place.
to like break someone out, and then she like gets released, and that's it. Like they don't mention their battle at all. They don't mention the fact that like Jen or She-Hulk like punched her and knocked her out. That she's the reason like that she like broke. Jen as a lawyer doesn't mention that like she's an ex-criminal. Like, do you remember when she busted into this courtroom? Do you remember that? Nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't get brought up at all. At all. Like this, she has like as character flaws. Nothing that doesn't matter. Like she's clearly a criminal. She's doing these things. Like nothing that doesn't get brought up at all. They don't even bring it up. Like that. And why is she doing this to She-Hulk? She clearly knows that like Jen can knock her out because she's done it before. It's not a threat. It's not a threat at all. It's ridiculous. None of that gets brought up at all.
It makes no sense at all. Yeah. We don't know what the heck. Yeah. We don't know anything about this character other than she got the crap kicked out of her. And now she's suing. They're like saying, hey, I have your name.
The thing is, Titania was made by Dr. Doom. So is like he going to show up at the end? Oh my God, please.
I mean, they need the cameos, but remember, it's her show. It's not. It's not the cameo. It's her show.
It's her show. Clearly, this is her show. So this is the one
right.
show that she. This is the one show that where like the main character She-Hulk has to carry the show, and nothing. Nothing. You don't even notice that she's a guest star in her own show because I feel like these people right here, these guys, carried this episode. Like they're the most entertaining part of this episode.
So then they take. Nikki takes She-Hulk to the designer, and he's like, "I don't even know who you are. You're not important. I've got a high class clientele." And then so Nikki lies and goes, "Well, she's part of the Avengers, and she's gonna be a big success once they announce that." So he's like, okay, maybe I'll help."
Yeah, and
like,
you know
what?
What's weird? You know what's
so
weird
let's
about
knock
this
her
scene?
down some more. Let's knock Jen down even more. Like, you're not important. You're not this. I don't even know who you are. That's
what's weird about this episode is that like he's like, no, I don't want to do it. Like, you're not an Avenger. You're not high profile enough for him, right? And then Nikki convinces him to do it. He makes fun of the fact that she's a lawyer. She's like, you're a lawyer, and he just laughs. Nikki convinces him by showing him, like, look, this is why. And she goes, we need something for her to wear when she's Jen and when she's She-Hulk. He's like shocked by the fact that she can shrink down into a tiny person and, you know, grow into She-Hulk. Like, he's shocked by
Yeah.
that for some reason when he clearly knows that, like, Hulk does that. Bruce
Yeah.
Banner exists. She even was like, she's a Hulk. And he's like, by blood? You know, so he knows clearly about Bruce Banner. Why is he so shocked that she can shrink down and shrink back up into a Hulk? Like, that makes absolutely no
It's the
sense.
comedy, though. Mike was rolling during that episode.
Oh yeah, I've never laughed so hard in my life. Yep.
You look so happy right now.
I just don't understand what the point is. Like this whole thing felt like a cheap like knockoff of the Incredibles with like Edna, and he's like,
oh, that's right.
You know, all my stuff is so wonderful and awesome, and I'm so good at my job, and I don't have time for you. First of all, this room is just like this super bougie room. The only way to get is to go like down a dirty elevator shaft. Like, how did they get to this room? Like, there's no context for any of it. All these people work down here. It's supposed to be a massive secret, and yet they can come and go as they please. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
All right, Mike, what's going on with this armor? Like, why do we have the abs with the belly here?
With the belly.
What's going on with this armor here?
It must be for you know, all those pregnant male superheroes out there. You know, I mean,
well,
it's the only thing I can figure. It's like, hey, I'm pregnant, so I really need that little armor
Steph,
here.
I'm thinking like it was for I don't know, Thor when he was fat.
I said the same thing. I said it might be like for like one of the gods. Steph, what do we rate the makeup here?
This makeup is really heavy. I mean,
heavy.
like this episode is really makeup heavy, you know, with Titania and with Nikki in this episode. And so I was just kind of like, why is it so makeup heavy? Like, it's something that I noticed it because I like makeup. I noticed it. I was like, it's makeup heavy. Like, why is it so makeup heavy? Like, you're getting all the makeup inspo in this episode. And it's because Urban Decay did a collaboration with She-Hulk. You know, they're not unknown. It's not an unknown thing, right? Marvel has done collaborations with makeup brands in the past, but it was very apparent in this episode. So I looked it up, and yeah, they have they did a makeup collab. So this is them like showcasing that collaboration. So yeah,
basically they're like, hey, listen, we got a makeup sponsor, so we need you to put this on, and we need people to see it. Like, so
yeah, it has to stand out in this episode, and it really does.
They just put it all over their eyes, and they just said, just wear that over your eyes. What's also weird too is like when Jen shrinks down, she's just like, you know, whatever, supposed to be frumpy looking Jen. When she becomes like She-Hulk, yeah, her hair gets all like long and stuff. She also has makeup on when she's She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
She has like eyeliner and like mascara and stuff on when she's She-Hulk. So she has like built-in makeup as a superhero. That's her real superpower, is that she always has the She-Hulk collection on whenever she turns into She-Hulk.
Well, I was saying, Steph, what would you rank Nikki's makeup here with the green around the eye? You think she's doing that because of She-Hulk, or she's just promoting the palette with all the green in this episode? Yeah. Because like
I think that like
just a few on back. See, there's the green here as well.
I think she's trying to honestly like mirror Titania in this episode. So like clearly she's the target audience for Titania. So it's like her own take on Titania's makeup. I that's what I think.
Mike, the CGI in this episode was one of the worst I think we've ever seen.
It's groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Those people working in those CGI sweatshops are really outdoing themselves here. Yeah. It's bad.
Like
especially after the court scene. Oh my god.
It's like they fixed it for like one episode and they went, hey, look, we fixed the CGI, everyone. It's like they called some YouTuber and was like, dude, listen, whatever it costs, we just need you to fix one episode. That's all. Yeah. And then you see the others and you're just like, what in the world are they thinking? Yeah. The CGI, even the way she walks and everything, it's terrible. So she has a moment. Jen has a moment. She's like, I know how we're going to win this case. And she goes to the attorney and she goes, we're going to call up all my Tinder dates. And they're going to say, yeah, I dated her because I know she is She-Hulk. And she's like, it's going to be embarrassing, but this is how we'll win.
Yeah.
So now we have to sit and watch as they go back to court and they bring up all her past Tinder dates, basically saying how bad She-Hulk is. And they're just like, yeah, well, she's kind of like this, she's kind of like that.
Yeah, but
And
not
then we
before. Hold on, but not before reading her profile.
Yeah.
Mean,
yeah.
green,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And then she's like,
and what is it? And dunked into these jeans or something
yeah,
like
dunked
that.
into these jeans or whatever. Yeah. And then she also, it's something like, I'm going to need a king size bed and like
a strong back. That's what she's interested in. That's the man that she's interested in.
Yeah, strong back and a reinforced king size bed.
Yeah.
Well, also, like just before this too, she runs into her lawyer is representing a guy that she apparently went on a date with. I don't even think we saw this.
Oh,
date.
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
And one of the first things she says is, "Oh my gosh, this is the guy I went on a date with." She goes, "Oh my gosh, is that the dude with the fetish?" And she's like, "Yeah. It's the guy with the weird fetish thing." And then they don't talk about it at all. And then he's just like, "Oh, hi, Jen," and she's like, "Hi." Cool. This is
He's
weird.
like, we should reconnect. And she's like, sure.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's in court. And like, also, to be honest, there's only 2 of these Tinder dates that I actually believe are interested in actually dating a woman, because the rest of them really don't seem like it. Like one of the guys is like sitting there and he's like cross-eyed. He's like, I don't know. She's kind of weird. And I'm like,
yeah.
But
the thing is like Steph brought up a great point. I should have grabbed that shot, but it was, her profile was basically, I just need someone strong to have sex with me.
That's exactly what her profile was.
That is it. It had nothing to do with nothing else. It was just like strong back, big bed, like my jeans, like getting my jeans and all that stuff.
Describing herself is just like sexually, mean, green, and I fit straight into these jeans or something like that. Like, and then I want to she's looking for someone to have sex with. That's it. And then at the end of the last episode, she's like, "Oh, he just used me for sex." It's like, well,
so they
he
bring
didn't
up
really
the guy.
use her for sex, but whatever. Like she brought that on herself. Let me look at what her profile said.
Exactly. So they bring up the guy that she had a one-night stand with, and he was very smooth and saying, "Oh yes," and then they asked the question, and this is what I have here. She's like, would you date Jen Walters? And he's like, she's not really my type, but She-Hulk on the other hand is this and everything that I want in a woman. But Jen Walters is not, nah.
And they take that line. They take that line, the very innocent line, right? We all have a type. We all have things that we're interested in when we look for, a partner in life. But they take that as like just a stab to the heart. Like it's the worst insult ever.
Oh yeah.
She's just not my type. That's
you
it.
can see her
and
She-Hulk's face
remember,
just like dying.
Let's remember that, like, she wouldn't be his type, right? Because she took advantage of this man.
Yeah.
She took advantage of this man. She's like, I'm just going to pick you up and carry you again, not leaving you any room to like rebuttal, like nothing. I'm just gonna land on top of you, trap you, now pick you up and take you into the bedroom. And then in the morning, I'm going to transform back into Jen, because I just catfished you to get what I wanted. So she wouldn't really be his type, right? Who would want someone who would catfish him?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is too, the way that they talk about her during the court thing, they basically are just trying to establish, did she use the name She-Hulk before Titania took this name?
Titania.
Or Titania, whatever. Yeah, that bitch. But like, the thing is, they don't even, all they have to do is ask them, did she identify as She-Hulk? But they don't. They spend like a ton of time running Jen down and talking about like what a loser Jen is, and they're like, oh yeah, oh we had a very intimate time together. Oh yeah, she was okay, I guess. You're like, what does that have to do with whether or not she used the name She-Hulk? Like, at all? And the judge is like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. They can just ramble about their dates and all that stuff. And it's like, oh, wow, how embarrassing. And like, you asked them to come here and talk about this.
Mm-hmm. You're asking these questions.
Yeah.
You're asking these questions. It's so
you
ridiculous.
Didn't go on these dates. Yeah, you never went on follow-up dates with these people. So why would they have anything good to talk about with you? Like, they don't know you at all. And it's so weird.
But again, they just want to show that Jen is a victim. Like, that's it. She's this poor Jen. poor Jen. Everybody's just bringing her down. And
This is
now
her-
in this episode, it's
This is her
She-Hulk.
hero's journey.
Let's let's bring down She-Hulk in this episode, because this whole episode is like they're dunking on She-Hulk. They call her Shrek.
The way she dresses is
the way she
bad, all that
dresses.
stuff.
Yeah, they're just bringing down She-Hulk. So we've done enough like dunking on Jen, right? Jen is clearly a victim. Now let's make She-Hulk a victim in this episode.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So then because of the Tinder dates, the judge says, "Hey, you win. No more products called She-Hulk,
It's
Titania."
so fucking weird,
And you're
isn't
just
it?
like, "Yay, we won." So then we get to this scene where they're walking out, and She-Hulk's like, "Well, that was embarrassing, but at least we won." And her professional attorney looks at her and it's like, "What that extremely attractive man said in there?
Yeah.
You can do better.
All
You
he
can
said,
do better."
right? All he said was, "She's not my type." That's
Yeah.
it. They take that as like a huge insult to you and your soul. Like just crushed her because he said, "She's not my type."
Dana Swartz definitely went on a date and someone broke her heart and said, she's just not my type. And now she's upset. And that's why she wrote that in this episode.
Like, that's not a
It was
huge
gay.
insult. Yeah,
was me.
You're
It
not
was me.
You're not going to be everybody's type. Not every man is going to love you. Not
It's
every
true.
man wants to date you. You know, it's like, she's not my type. That's not an insult.
You know what a lot of men deal with? Like, I hang out with the fellas, you know, and they talk, and it's funny. A lot of men are like, "I wish I was taller," because most women say, "I need taller men.
Yeah,
a man can't be
exactly.
shorter than me. That's my type, right?"
This
so
this episode, right? This comes, and you bring up a good point, because all he says is, "She's not my type." While this entire episode, she's like judging these men. In a previous scene, she was judging this guy because he had a fetish. I'm pretty sure that guy wasn't her type.
Yeah.
All of these men that she round up, clearly they weren't her type. But no, this one guy says that like, she's not my type, and it crushes her. It brings her down. It makes her look longingly out of a window.
Well, they all
like,
just
clearly she is judging all of these men. She's judging all of these men. None of these men are her type. But one man says that to her, and she's crushed.
She asked the attorney to let's go out and have a drink, and they start talking about how bad men are, and like the funny line was, the attorney's like, "Wow, you could have superpowers and still the men are not satisfied." You know, something along those lines. And then here's the scene where she laughs. She goes, "Yes, oh my God, the things we put up with."
Yeah.
And you're just like,
this is the
first
scene.
of all, your Tinder said this. You attracted exactly who you were supposed to attract from that profile. You know, and it's like, it just comes across as desperation. You had another Tinder with Jen Walters that got no attraction. But I mean, if you had kept at it, maybe, you know, like who knows, but you were like in a rush. And so they went out and have a drink, and then Jen like says something really weird. She goes, "I'm so glad we're friends." And the attorney was like, okay, and then just walks away.
Yeah,
I just thought that was like odd. I was like,
I can't
what
believe
is
I said that. Oh, we're friends. I can't believe I said we're friends. It was so weird. It's like Jen is like desperate to just bond with anyone.
Yeah.
You know, you brought up her profile. Yeah, she didn't get any replies when she just made a profile as Jen, but she did when she did She-Hulk. So she's like desperate for that attention. She's just it screams desperation here. And I don't think that like the writers were meaning to portray her that way, but that's how it's coming across. It's coming across as, I'm just desperate for a friend. Like that it's embarrassing. I'm so desperate for a friend that it's embarrassing, because I'm like, I don't know why I said that. I'm just gonna escape in my alcohol.
No.
Like it just screams desperation. And again, the writers didn't mean that. Didn't mean to write it that way, but that's how it's coming across. And like, this is the scene that I was saying, like, we forgot to dunk on men. So let me just throw in this scene at the bar so we can get together and just dunk on my boss and men in general. And then like, I really want a friend. Will you be my friend? Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah. Well, also what's funny too is, you know, what was, I think last episode, she talked about how she's got tons of people that want to date She-Hulk. Tons. And those guys in that courtroom were some of the best of the people that she went on a date with. She picked them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there's two big muscular guys, and you're like, okay, maybe that's her type. Like, okay, whatever. But like the other nerds in the middle, and the guy with the creepy fetish that she made fun of and stuff, she picked them.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she was desperate and didn't have choices. She said she got tons, or like, what was it, hundreds of responses to She-Hulk. So yeah, and then she's like, "Oh my gosh, men though, right?" And I'm like, "You had a choice of people, and the people you picked were bad. That should say something about you, not about the men. Like, you're the one that made the profile like you did." So
yeah,
it's so
they don't
weird.
want her. They don't want to take. They don't want her to take responsibility for her decisions. You know, because then she would have to admit that she made mistakes, and they don't want that. So they just paint her as this. Things just happen to Jen. All of this stuff just happens to her. It's not a consequence of the decisions that she's making. It just happens to her because poor Jen, she's a victim.
I'm just like, it's a comedy. Okay, I get it. And you want to do it in a comedy, fine. I'm okay with that. But the fact that you still, even in a comedy, you should still have the progression of the superhero. And we've all seen the superhero arc where it's just pain, suffering, things like that, and you overcome because you were gifted, these powers to do good in the world. And yeah, so you want to make it a little different, but at the end of the day, to make her pain and suffering about, you're just not my type, so I'm bad with men, is terrible. It's like
her pain and suffering. Art. Her pain and suffering is that she's a woman. That's it. That is her pain and suffering. I'd have to put up with all of this because I'm a woman. Everything happens to her. Everything happens to her because she doesn't have a penis. That's why. That's her pain and suffering. That's her penance, is that she has to go through life being a woman.
I mean, it's not, and I don't want to compare, but it's like we had Black Widow, like what an arc that was to the fact to her bitter end, where she was like, I'm gonna make the sacrifice for the greater good, and that was power. I didn't like the film so much. I felt like that was rushed. That's a whole nother topic, but that arc in those 13 years from Iron Man to Endgame, it's like, it just shows who she was and everything. It's just this is just like, this is painful. But then we get to what everybody wanted to see, what they were teasing for weeks now. Hey, Daredevil's coming, y'all. Are you ready? Because that's the only reason why you're watching this show. And here we go. There's your Daredevil scene. That's it. There was no end credit scene. They didn't even know what to put in the end credits, basically, because it's just like, we got nothing else to put. So the same guy, basically what happened is, after Jen had drinks, she goes back to the designer and he goes, "Here, I got some stuff for you." Obviously, he made a superhero costume for her, because he's like, "Here's something I made for free." And she's like, "I don't think I need this." And he goes, "Yeah, you never know." And while she's trying on clothes, he goes, "Hey," he's yelling at his staff. He's like, "You're not supposed to keep this out." And he just sets this down and puts a lid on it. And you see now, so now we know this guy is actually making stuff for other superheroes as well. So he's making one for Daredevil. So again, everything that we've all been saying, every time we do a review, all this does is give us literally like 3 minutes. So people will go, I'll tune in next week to see Daredevil. So here's the hook right there.
It's so funny because, like, on the She-Hulk, on She-Hulk Instagram, there's comments, tons and tons of comments that are just like, I'm just here for Daredevil.
Yes.
When is the Daredevil episode? I want to see Daredevil. Can you please tell us when the Daredevil episode is? Like, people are literally just tuning in, hoping to see Daredevil.
Yep. It's bad.
And that's how much he's loved, and they're gonna see a Disney Daredevil. That's coming. They've already admitted. I have a video on this channel about it where they're just like, well, you're gonna see a fun, different Daredevil than you've seen on Netflix. And we're like, yeah, here we go.
And it's kind of sad because, like, the actor that plays Daredevil, the actor that plays Matt Murdock, like, he's said, like, like, from the source material, like, it's very different. It's very dark. I don't know how they would make that comical.
Well, they already said that this is like a totally different direction and something completely different than anything we've seen with Daredevil before. He's like, it's not even a continuation; it's a totally different character.
Yeah.
And they've already admitted, which I also think is funny that apparently just the rumors is that Daredevil and him, or Daredevil and She-Hulk, will be flirty with each other and flirtatious with each other. And I'm like, yeah, a guy wearing a devil costume. She's like, I can get into this. Like,
Yeah, a blind guy.
a
More
blind guy.
dating,
She's like,
more dating woes to come.
A blind guy.
yeah, he'll be like, nah, I'm good.
Let me-
Like, you're not my type. Yeah, I don't know.
Not only,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna play it off, but like she's already taken advantage of one man. Now she's gonna take advantage of a blind man.
Yeah.
Well, overall, thank you, Mike and Steph, yet again for going. Like, this review is longer than the episode. Overall, I think this episode didn't even need to be. It literally was. I just felt like Marvel or Disney, whatever, and they said, all right, we're gonna let you have a show, but we need at least 7 episodes or 6 or whatever, how many episodes we got left. And they're like, well, we've only written 5, so we need a couple of fillers. Here's one of them. And what we'll do to make people happy at the very end from this god-awful episode is show Daredevil's hood, his mask. And maybe that will make them happy and forget about
the nothing burger of an episode.
Yes,
this episode was a nothing burger. You're absolutely right. It could have been a voiceover. But it could
I
have
also
been
think
a
it's funny that somehow Matt found this place, the super exclusive fashion place, because the guy that was making Matt's costumes before was like a dude in like a garage, like that was specifically like gifted to only make costumes like this. And then he's like, oh yeah, I found the super exclusive club that somehow nobody else can get into, but I got into to make my costume. So
my biggest fear, and I guess I'll end it on this, is that in the comics, She-Hulk was a major part of Avengers Fantastic Four. And if you're going to portray her as a joke and that her feelings get hurt and that's how she's sad, while the other superheroes have to deal with family death, trauma, hiding from the like all that stuff. And it's like, then if they're gonna put her in like an Avengers type film, when everybody comes together, it's like, is she still gonna be a joke, or are they just gonna turn her power level up for the movie? And then when they go back to the series, they'll just turn it back down. It's like, you can't do that. And it's really sad.
There's no consistency with Marvel anymore.
I know. It's so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad. Anyway, follow Mike on Twitch. Follow Steph on Twitch and YouTube. The links are in the description below. We're almost done. The finale episode, we're going to go live. So we'll just talk about the whole series on a live stream. Thank you guys for being here. We will catch you next week. Bye.